Hello, I am Dr. Farshad Amini Behbahani and this is short course of Iranian traditional medicine. In this section we evaluate the intrinsic temperament. Every baby that is born has a specific temperament compared to the other members of family with the same sex and same location. This specific temperament, which is called also intrinsic temperament, should be respected. We don't correct this temperament. We try to adapt the environment and habits and foods to this specific temperament. This specific temperament is happened because of the different phenomenon that mothers experience through their pregnancy. Different food, different disturbator of mind, different location, and different people that they meet, and different location that they are in there. Understanding and knowing this intrinsic temperament will help to better treatment of disease. For example, in treatment of distemperament or distemperament situation, we used some drugs or some food to correct the distemperament. When should cut the treatment is the time that person reach to his or her intrinsic temperament. We need to know, especially in acute treatment, when we treat fast, to know that when we should cut the treatment. It is important to know intrinsic temperament in urgence. Another use of this intrinsic temperament is to determine what type of education this person or this child can tolerate. A wet and cold temperament child easily tolerates sitting on bench, on chair, behind the desk, but he or she needs more repetition of scientific phrases. In contrary, a hot or a warm and dry temperament child barely tolerate sitting in a position for a long time. He or she try to go outside, try to run, trying to play and experience outside environment. A boy with warm and wet temperament, with warm and wet intrinsic temperament, is an athletic that barely tolerate education of scientific phrases until he reached to 40-year-olds. In 40-year-olds, by changing the temperament of age toward the cold and dry, the intrinsic temperament corrects somehow that child become more powerful in understanding the scientific phrases. We have some scholars that were become brilliant in their 40 years old. A girl with warm and wet temperament in contrary, tolerate sitting behind the bench and learning the scientific phrases easily because the temperament of sex, temperament of a girl is wet and cold that somehow balance the intrinsic warm and wet temperament. So the learning of a girl with wet and warm temperament is very good in childhood, of course. Another implication of intrinsic temperament is to know which signs and symptoms relate to intrinsic temperament and do not treat them. Some patients come to me and tell that we are obese, please prescribe a medication to cure our obesity. Or some comes in contrary, we are so thin, please prescribe a food to make me fat and strong. In some situation, the obesity or tininess is because of intrinsic temperament. We do not cure it by food or medications. For example, a wet and warm intrinsic temperament has a obese body or overweight body, but a muscular body. We do not try to treat this overweight. It is not a barrier or it is not harmful for the person activity. We see an obese or an overweight body, an overweight muscular body that run well, play well, without respiratory distress. We do not treat this overweight. We just prescribe some exercise or moderation of exercise to this person. In contrary, a dry and cold intrinsic temperament has a thin body. You cannot treat this body by prescribing over food. You just can adjust the life for this person. How we understand or diagnose this intrinsic temperament? There is some questionnaire, some standard questionnaire for detecting the temperament or intrinsic temperament of person. By asking especially first 7 years of the lifeline of a person, you can reach to his or her intrinsic temperament. By asking the form and color of hair in childhood compared to his or her relative with the same sex, you can reach to the intrinsic temperament of the brain. Black hair with some curl show the warm intrinsic temperament. A blonde hair with a smooth hair show the cold temperament. A dark or brown skin or black skin show the warmness of temperament compared to the family. Faster movement and sharper sensation in 5 sense organ show the warm temperament. Prominent joint compared to the family, prominent vessels compared to the family, without a large amount of exercise, because athletics also has large and prominent vessels. We don't count it. Shows that there is a warm temperament. In contrary, hidden vessels or hidden joint show the coldness of temperament. Reaction and affecting by the qualities, 4 qualities of the environment can lead to detection of intrinsic temperament. A warm, normal intrinsic temperament can immediately understand the warmness of the environment, but he or she like to live in this environment. They have benefit from this environment. In contrary, coldness don't affect them so much, but they don't prefer to be in a cold environment. A dry intrinsic temperament understand and notice dryness of the weather more fast and better than the others, but she or he prefer to live in such environment. Another way to understand or detecting the intrinsic temperament is the body form. An obese or an overweight body usually shows the wet temperament. If this obesity or overweight be more fatty than muscular, so this is a cold wet temperament, and if this obesity or overweight be muscular, so this is a warm and wet temperament. A thin body shows us the dryness in intrinsic temperament. If this thinny be skinny too, this is cold and dry temperament, but if some muscles you can detect be somehow a little muscular, this is warm and dry temperament. This is the simplest way to detecting the temperament of a person by just one look.